Welcome back to the news at 10. New York-based JP Morgan recently announced that Nigeria will be phased out of its emerging market government bond index series over the next 2 months. According to the bank, Nigeria's limited transparency and the lack of a fully functional two-way foreign exchange market has given rise to uncertainty and a number of challenges for investors in the bond market. Now, what's this emerging market index all about, and what would the delisting mean for Nigeria? On our big story tonight, our correspondent Chimeze Obi-Iwagu examines the issues.
The JP Morgan Emerging Market Index is simply a list that tracks a basket of government bonds of some countries classified as emerging markets. Nigeria and South Africa are the only two African countries on the index presently. One of the major criteria of being included on the index is ease of entry and exit, and that's the crux of the matter. Nigeria was included in the index in October 2012. So far, 5 of Nigeria's FGN bonds are listed on the index. But the introduction of some restrictions in the foreign exchange market by the CBN in recent months has caused a liquidity problem in the market, which is one major requirement for inclusion on the index. The CBN had introduced an order-based system as against the former two-way quote. The order-based system allows only those with genuine demands for foreign exchange to have access to it.
I don't know what the definition of genuine demand is. Because even items that are valid for foreign exchange by CBN's own definition, most of them are not getting the forex. Those of them that get it much, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Despite these concerns, the CBN in a press statement maintains it has taken the best decision for the economy. According to the regulator, reintroducing the two-way quote will encourage speculation and round-tripping. Aside from that, it will lead to further depreciation of the naira. And with the dwindling oil prices, the bank maintains it's time for Nigerians to look inwards.
You cannot give what you don't have. Exchange rate is a price. Any price anywhere in the world is determined by the forces of demand and supply. If you have a challenge on the supply side, your price will go up.
A day after the JP Morgan announcement, the markets experienced some volatility, but later stabilized. As part of its market organizing function, the FMDQ OTC intervened by widening the standard spread to ensure continuity of the markets.
When market is volatile, it's as a result of an increase in liquidity or a decrease in liquidity or some other factor in the market. And the way to stabilize it is to allow the dealers to price in their expectation of this increase or decrease in liquidity in the market into their prices. Now, when we have given them a standard spread which they need to stay within, you restrict their ability to price in the effect of the factors surrounding the market.
Out of about $208 billion tracking the index, Nigeria has about 1.5% of the whole value. Though the country may still be perceived by foreign investors as a good investment destination, some economic watchers believe Nigeria's removal from the index will result to significant capital outflows. Most economists say a market-driven exchange rate is what is needed at this time.
Administer your measures in such a way that it's as close as possible towards what is expected by the markets. Inevitably, in the end, this currency will be adjusted. Probably not as much as people are fearing.
For these economic watchers, the current foreign exchange rate is not sustainable. But allowing the naira to depreciate will require a supportive economic policy that will help cushion the likely effect on the masses.
If you have import restrictions or you want to devalue your currency, which ultimately you want to achieve the same objective, or you devalue your currency, you must also have a supporting economic policy that will trigger local production of goods and services in your country. And you cannot have that if you have a high exchange interest rate. You cannot have a situation where people are borrowing at almost 30% and you expect them to go into production of goods and services into the real sector.
In spite of these economic challenges, Standard & Poor's has just affirmed Nigeria's B+ rating with stable outlook. Experts say this is the time for economic managers to define their priorities. And as the CBN's Monetary Policy Committee prepares to meet next week, many are eagerly waiting for the next policy direction. For The Big Story, Chimeze Obi-Iwago, Channels Television News.
The Anambra State Governor, Mr. Willie Obiano, has appealed to the European Union to intervene in the development of communities in the state with special focus on girl-child education, flood management and power. The appeal was made during the courtesy visit of the EU ambassador to Anambra State. They're seeking new areas of collaboration with the state government, as well as assessing existing EU programs in the state.
I'm very happy EU has been working with us. So far they are intervening in 2 local governments. We're trying to see whether they can expand it to include other local governments. But the projects they have are doing well, and we have a structure to make sure that the community will take ownership after those projects have been built. We did also make requests for intervention in certain areas, something like girl-child education, degree of flood, and power.
It was a very nice overview of our current programs and projects, and globally our different areas where we do cooperate, but more importantly to look at the future. We are currently in the process of planning our cooperation for the next 5 years, and it's important to visit a few states and discuss priorities, etc. The main word is certainly sustainability.
Let's take a look at some business now. Here's Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. Commodity prices have been volatile in 2015, even as they remain attractive and a source of good revenue for resource-based countries. Nigeria has therefore been advised to position its economy for a U-turn in commodity cycles, in particular the mining sector. This advice is from the Australian High Commissioner to Nigeria, John Richardson, in a chat with Channels Business News anchor Harriet Agbenyi.
I think the key thing for Nigeria is to position itself. It's done a lot of work in developing the structures and the legal framework for mining, and it's the broader things that the President is talking about: rule of law and strengthening governance and infrastructure in particular. Improving all those things will increase investor confidence, which is and security as well is something that a lot of investors will look at. So many of these companies are very keen to come and explore, but ultimately they have to get finance from international capital markets, banks or investment funds or the share market, and they look very cautiously often at all the ingredients that go into make a successful project. So every country that is competing to get that investment needs to work hard at all angles, all those various angles. But it's an area that we've also been working with the Nigerian government in terms of cooperation through some training programs in the governance of the mining sector, different aspects such as the financial, revenue systems, legal systems, environment, safety and so forth. So that's an area we hope we can continue to assist and cooperate in.
Nigeria will not devalue its currency any further as the central bank continues to struggle to keep the naira at current levels. Well, that's the message from President Buhari to calls for a further devaluation of the naira. In an interview with a French television, In Paris, Mr. President Buhari was quoted as saying, I don't think it is healthy for us to have the naira devalued further. The naira fell to as low as 242 per dollar on the parallel market in July, versus the official rate of 197. It has lost around 15% against the dollar over the past year, with an official devaluation in November of 2014 and a de facto one in February this year. And the decline in liquidity in the banking system drove trading activities at the Nigerian interbank market to a halt for the third consecutive day. This follows huge cash outflows owing to new government directives. The cash balances of commercial lenders with the central bank stood at 173 billion naira credit today, down from about 366 billion naira on Wednesday. The balance held at 486 billion naira on Tuesday. President Buhari's orders that all revenue be paid into the Treasury single account from Tuesday as part of a drive to fight corruption and aid transparency caused panic among the lenders as fears heightened that the policy could cripple their operations. Meanwhile, sustained bullish momentum in the Nigerian equities market drove the all-share index 17 basis points higher. Here's Temple Ashaju with a breakdown of the figures.
Hello and welcome to Stock Market Report. Now, positive gains were recorded at the stock markets today as profits taken eased to push the local bourse up by 0.17%. The NSE All-Share Index closed at 30,410.39, while market capitalization appreciated further to end the session at 10.45 trillion naira. And market breadth was positive as 23 stocks advanced while 19 others declined. And Julius Berger was the top gainer, advancing 4.95% to 44 naira 8 kobo. Better Glass gained 4.53% to close at 42 naira 70 kobo, while UACN added 4.76% to the session at 33 naira in its share price. And the top three laggards for the day were led by WAPCO, Guinness, and of course Champion Breweries. Custodian and Allied Insurance was the most actively traded with 41.66 million units, and it's followed by Access Bank with 32.64 million units, as well as FBN Holdings with 22.43 million units. Volume traded increased to 211.88 million shares, valued at 2.72 billion naira, exchanged in a whopping trade deals of 3,051. And that does it for Stock Market Report. I'm Temple Ashaju.
Very many thanks, Temple. While it was mixed sentiments at the global equities markets today, let's take a look at the figures. And that's it on Business News Tonight. I'm Imana Amawe. Ijoma will be back with the rest of the news at 10.
You first. First Bank.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria wins 400-meter hurdles at the African Games, and that will be on sports. To join us again.